I'm here today with Mr. David Cook, better known as Cookie,
Yeah.
around these parts. He's a fitness trainer and I guess nutrition expert.
Sure. Personal trainer, boxing coach,
Yeah.
nutritionist, stuff like that.
So your business is Cookie Cut Fitness.
Cookie Cuts, yes.
Cookie Cuts
Cuts Fitness. I just kind of had fitness so people know what it is. Because everyone thought I was selling cookies for a while. I think they still do sometimes. Which is fine because people like cookies more than they like to work out. So it works pretty well, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you do in your business.
So I do a little bit of everything, kind of. I do offer some online training, mainly in-person personal training. So I mainly do strength and conditioning. I also do boxing. And then I offer personalized meal plans. So that's more of a nutritional coaching than anything. Mm-hmm. I do give meal plans, but you can find a healthy diet online, that will work. It's just following it and knowing when to make changes. Because once you do lose weight, you have to keep decreasing your change, based on your body weight and things like that. So so a little bit of everything.
So how did you get into the whole fitness thing? Have you always been active, or?
So I got into fitness when I was kind of when I was 18. Lost a bunch of weight when I went through a bad breakup in high school. Because I was very chubby most of my childhood and in high school. So that helps with the girls as well. But I kind of lost weight on accident and kind of get into it and research on my own, and eventually kind of found coaches and trainers to help me along the way. Mm-hmm. So I got into it that way, and then recently I went to school for nursing, so I got my nursing license.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you that, but
I think I read it.
yeah, somewhere, who knows?
Yeah. Cool.
So I went to school for nursing and slowly fell off because I started fighting for a while and things like that before, and I tried to keep it up, and it's just very difficult in nursing school. So I stopped and temporarily put on a lot of weight, and then when I started working, I worked at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital for a while.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I did that for a year or two, but I fell into a deep depression and just started gaining way too much weight, losing myself kind of. So I took a break, and then...
So this was all when you were still young?
This was 25-ish. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so because I graduated nursing school, so
Okay.
that was 4 years.
Gotcha.
So 25, 26. And then, so I took some time off work, trying to find myself, so to speak. And, I got back into fitness because it helped me, get over my depression. And then, I realized I could make a living out of it and helping other people, because I love that aspect of nursing,
Mm-hmm.
helping other people, and it was very rewarding. But the hours, and then working with kids, and I worked in oncology, so kids with cancer, it was exciting. So,
Tough, yeah.
but I loved it, and I still love it, but I love fitness so much more. It's just where my passion is. So.
And you kind of mentioned on your website a little bit, and this is, I kind of want to dig just a little deeper on this.
Of course.
That fitness kind of has helped you with your depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, as someone who also has struggled, I feel like there's so many people out there that do struggle, and they're just afraid to talk about it, and they just, I don't know, it's like there's this huge stigma with it. And
It's definitely a stigma, yes.
And I know for myself, people, when you're just in that horrible place, people are like, just get out, just go for a walk, just exercise, do whatever. And I'm
just
like,
get
well,
better.
but when you're in that place, you can't make yourself.
No, you can't.
So how did you discover, or what sort of, I guess, tools have you been able to use, fitness or otherwise, to kind of get through that?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I guess fitness has helped me with is it can be both an escape, and it can help me face the things I'm dealing with too. Mm-hmm. Like times where I need to just, lift heavy weight and forget about life, I can do that. And times where I need to be on the Stairmaster thinking about everything horrible that's going on in my life and dealing with it, because you have to deal with stuff too. You can't just put it under the rug. You can't just ignore things and escape from them. So, there have been times where I've cried on the treadmill and just gone with it. Nobody can tell, covered in sweat, covered in tattoos, nobody messing with me. So, I can cry all I want. People will just be like, oh, whatever. But, so it's always kind of been like an escape. And then, of course, there's the scientific part of it where it helps release hormones and neurotransmitters, same things that antidepressants do, So, the stigma behind it is horrible. It's just, and I get that it's one of those things that is really hard to describe to people that have never dealt with it.
Yeah.
And I completely get that. Anytime you go through a new experience, you're surprised by how like everyone told you how it was, and now you realize. But once you experience it, it's so much easier to like see what people are talking about.
Yeah.
Say it's like with tattoos. It's like you don't really understand the pain until you're going through it.
Right.
And then you can even kind of forget about it, like, well, it's gone. And then you're like, oh, here it is. Same with depression. It comes and goes in waves. You know, it's like the ocean.
Yeah.
Come up with the tide and go back. So, you know, it's just a struggle.
Yeah, rainy days suck
I know, yeah.
for
And,
me.
yeah, and it's one of those things like, you know, in like physical pain, sickness, things like that can all bring it on for me too. You know, and that's something where you can't control. You can't control if you get sick sometimes, you know, and I'm a completely different human being when I am depressed or sad or mad or anxious.
And I think that's another assumption people have is like, you're just sad. Like, you're not depressed. You're just going through something. And they don't understand the difference.
Oh, jeez, I know.
And I heard somebody say something once like, why is it that someone with diabetes like doesn't have the stigma, or someone with cancer or whatever, like another illness, but for whatever reason mental illness is looked at so differently?
Yeah, one time, this one commercial I only saw it once. I wish I could find it. It was like this guy going through a hospital and like going to like a cancer ward, and like these people were making fun of people with cancer, like the nurses and doctors and their family members were like, why can't you just get out of bed? And like this dude's with tubes in them and like no hair. And like, of course, when you watch it, you're like, what the hell are these people doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are they treating this person like this? And then it segments into people talking to people who are depressed the exact same way. And it's a medical condition. It's a disease. It's an illness. And they both are. You can't control that you get cancer. You can't control that you get depression.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you don't treat someone like cancer with some kind of disorder or disease like that, you shouldn't treat someone with a mental illness that way.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
completely unfair.
Yeah.
So.
Do you find that your clients, obviously you don't know if they have depression, but do you notice a change in their mood just in general when they're working with you? Like
Oh,
afterwards
definitely.
there's
Yeah.
more energy or?
Oh yeah, and like, and the majority of the people who come to me who are overweight, they haven't always been overweight, and the reason they are overweight is usually they'll tell me like a family member died or something like that, and that's what they'll say rather than like I was depressed, because it's hard for people to identify that kind of stuff. It's easy for us to be like, oh, I was grieving over a lost parent, but that was like 2 years ago. I'm still overweight, so like it's obviously depression that stayed with you, you know, and the only way to combat that is to own your life and to change it.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just sit back. You know, same with cancer, you have to go and get treatment, or you're going to die sometimes. You know, same with depression. If you don't get treatment, you don't work, you could die.
Yeah.
So,
It's definitely rough.
yeah.
And now that we've totally brought the mood down, let's talk about some maybe happier stuff.
Yeah, everything's.
So obviously there's a lot involved with what you do. And every client's needs are different, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So are there some things, just a few that you can show us, maybe easy things people can do at home, whether they just want to get in a better mood or get more fit or...
Yeah, so I'm a big like admin. It's like even the days that I want to work out or days I'm off, just getting a sweat like is super important to me. And I'm sure a lot of that is just the mental connection I have with sweating and fitness. But it also makes me feel good about myself, just like doing that, doing something.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that I feel horrible about myself when I don't, because I know I should be. We all know we should be doing things.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you should be active at least once a day. And the majority of us are not. And so it's an issue. But yeah, do you want to show us now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we put together 3 different exercises.
Okay.
Very basic. Maybe some variations you guys haven't heard of. But yeah, we're going to show you. Sweet.
All right, cool.
Exciting.
So this is, where is she?
Yeah, we're Real Change
Miss
Fitness,
Kayla.
guys, in Brookwood. Yeah, this is Kayla, my beautiful girlfriend. She's going to demonstrate everything for us. So all you're going to need for this, guys, is dumbbells, which very easily accessible. You can get like Dick's or Academy Sports or something like that. So yeah, 10 or 15 is what we're going to use. You can use obviously whatever weight you need. So first
How do you determine like what's a good weight?
good weight. Try it out.
Okay.
Kind of. And that's what helps with having a trainer or coach is that like because I make sure to educate people on like why you're doing things and like how to do them. Because I do not expect someone to pay me for the rest of their lives in my life. You know, that's not how it works. You can't keep a trainer or coach that long. So the idea is to teach good form. So you need to know good form and the right way to do things. So either like YouTube videos, you can look at my Instagram, I do informational things. But form is extraordinarily important. So first exercise we have, guys, is something called man makers. It's not exciting, but it's kind of a variation on burpee. You guys know what burpees are, and you don't like burpees. It's harder than burpees. So it's burpees with dumbbells. So get excited. So you're gonna start in a high plank position, guys. So high plank position or push-up position with the dumbbells, neutral grip, so facing each other. Then you're gonna row with each arm. So push up, then row, jump your hands to your feet, up, overhead press. So essentially just a burpee with dumbbells, you just add in the row. All right, so a good way to do that is 10 reps, and we have 3 different exercises, so we'll go through all of them with you guys. So next one we have is dumbbell thrusters, so you can keep your dumbbells, go straight into it. So you wear your dumbbells up on your shoulders. You're gonna squat down, parallel or deeper, come up, overhead press, and repeat. Down, up, down squat, up, overhead press, over and over. Again, 10 of those. Then you're gonna drop the dumbbells, go down into a low plank on your forearms. So this will be for your core. And we're gonna hold that for 1 minute. Okay, so you have 10 man makers, 10 dumbbell thrusters, and then plank for a minute, and you repeat that round 3 times. And very simple, shouldn't take more than 15 minutes altogether, if that. So very effective, very general total body workout. Obviously there are many different workouts and things you can do at home, but one way.
So, do you do that kind of stuff with your like beginner people?
Yeah, so it depends on my client's goals. It depends on their goals completely, and where they want to be and all of that kind of, and their current fitness level, a dozen of different things. But I do like to throw in some like hit circuits, so to speak, so like high intensity circuits. So usually I'll do maybe 5 or 10 exercises, and you just rotate between them all. So you can do for reps or time. So obviously there are many different ways, many different types of exercises, circuits you can do.
And what she just did, what does that work on specifically?
So that's more for just total body and fat loss than anything else, and conditioning, athletic performance, things like that. It's not going to be as much for strength. For that, you got to lift heavy weight, and a little bit different. That's more core lifts where you're isolating specific muscle groups. Those were more total body things. But
so it doesn't necessarily target certain parts of the body. It's just
not necessarily.
Basically.
Different ones work different areas. Like with the rowing and the man makers, that'll be your back. The push up, chest, jumping up, overhead press, shoulders. So different areas work different bodies. The good thing about like flowing exercises, like the thrusters and burpees is what they're called, is that it works total body and it can work in conditioning very well. So cardiovascular wise, help, and it's very, very good for fat loss. Okay, cool.
all right.
That's it.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else you'd like people to know, or tips, or
Tips. Just do something, literally. I mean, if you guys want your life to change, you have to do something. You have to change too. I mean, you can't just change your life without doing something different. That makes sense, right? If you do everything the same, everything's going to be the same. If you're depressed and you don't change anything, your depression shouldn't change. I mean, that makes sense. If you're overweight and you're not happy being overweight, you're not going to get underweight unless you do something about it. And sometimes that means getting help. Getting help is not a bad thing. That means coaches, therapists, whatever it is.
And you said you do stuff online too. So, like,
Yeah.
do you work with people outside of Nashville?
Currently, no.
Okay.
All my diet plans are online, essentially. But most of them I do them with people that I see in person. I like to see people in person, talk to them in person. It's a lot more helpful. Online training, you can only get so much work done. You can only be so good to clients. You know, I like to make sure that I'm doing as much as I can for all my clients.
And you do all your training here,
Currently, yes.
which is, remind everyone.
This is Real Change Fitness in Brentwood, Tennessee. I also train people out of my apartment complex in Nashville, so that's downtown and midtown.
Okay.
And then I make house calls too, depending. So yeah, feel free to hit me up. My Instagram is @coach.cookie. My email's on there, telephone number, all that kind of stuff. All right.
Okay, cool.
Exciting.
Well, thank you, Cookie, and Kayla. Thank you. I appreciate very much you being so open with
Of course. Yeah, no, I
the
appreciate
story,
it.
and so try his tips, check him out, and come see him. It's off of Edmondson Pike and Old
Nippers
Hickory. Yeah, Nippers Corner.
Nippers
There you
Corner.
go. All right, bye guys.